Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you've been following our channel for a while, you know we've had several build projects along the way. We've done the firewood storage area. We've done this bridge that we walked on, and we promised you that the bridge to Thailandia was going to go to a greenhouse. And voila, here's a greenhouse. This is going to be an awesome video, and we've divided it into 10 chapters based upon the stage of building. Chapter 1, cutting the timbers. Chapter 2, building the foundation. Chapter 3, putting the first post in the ground. Chapter 4, building the greenhouse rafters. Chapter 5, polycarbonate roof panels. Chapter 6, learning how to install corrugated polycarbonate panels. Chapter 7, building the end wall. Chapter 8, installing trim. Chapter 9, the outside dirt work. Chapter 10, building the door and finishing the trim. Hey, we'd like to thank HB Fuller and the FAST2K team for sponsoring our video. We have used FAST2K to put the post in. It's a great concrete alternative. As a matter of fact, it's so much easier to work with than concrete.
It's very awesome.
We also use HB Fuller's butyl tape to put in our polycarbonate panels, and that made it so much easier to create a weather-tight seal. Thank you again, HB Fuller and the FAST2K team, for sponsoring this video. So let's go ahead and talk about this build and what it took to get to this point. Bear with me because there's going to be some really good information along the way. Maybe some outtakes, who knows? We'll see what happens. Let me tell you what we got going on today. So we have cut down a bunch of white oak. And why white oak? First off, it is very rot resistant, and we are building a post and beam greenhouse. Guys, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be kind of old world meets modern. So we hate to cut these trees down, but this is where our future house is going to be. So it's going to be a good reason to repurpose this. We need 12-foot post, 6x6 posts. We're going to cut these up, carry them to the sawmill, and start sawing. So today we'll delimb with a little saw and then come back and make our main cuts with this big saw. So this is going to be, let's cut this 13 foot. All right, Gizmo, get back, buddy. I'm gonna cut that nose.
Come on, buddy. Don't bump it.
And we're going to do that for the rest of this log. Probably get one more 12-footer out of this, and then we'll see you at the sawmill. I wasn't paying attention, and I yanked my tape measure across the chainsaw tooth, and yep. All right, so that's the first 6x6 done. Well, there is 2 white oak posts done. Now I only need 14 more. Oh, that's 1 more 6x6. I have to admit that last one looks really good. All right, there's 2 more white oak beams. We're getting there.
Welcome back. If you're new to this channel, this is Tony's Tractor Adventure. But maybe today it's my adventure because we are starting at the greenhouse. But before we can start building, we have to prep this area.
Okay, as Tanya said, we're going to level this portion out. Actually, we're going to end up raising this and diverting, but any water that comes to here needs to go that way. So what we're going to end up doing is coming in and tilling a little bit of this top, probably just a few inches, and take out the organics. And then we're going to go to the other side, do the same thing, and then we're going to deep till over there. There's a little mound, a little hill over there, and we're going to use all of that dirt to build the site up for the greenhouse. It should go pretty easy. I think it's going to be a good day. It's really cool, about 74 degrees, so loving it. All right, now we have this tilled up. We probably went down about 3 inches, maybe 2 inches down. And we don't have great topsoil here, but it's all we got. So we're going to scrape this off and put it in a pile down at the end, and we'll use this topsoil somewhere else and get all the organics out of it. We don't want to take a big bite, we just want to scrape off the top. We moved a lot of dirt. We've got all the topsoil removed from this location where we're going to put the greenhouse. And you can see here, this is the backfill that we brought in today. Tomorrow we're bringing out the big guns, and we're gonna get serious with it. The greenhouse has to be exactly the right distance from the fence on both ends, because whether we want to believe it or not, the fence is actually going to be the reference point from the road, and it is straight. So therefore the greenhouse wall has to be straight off of the fence, or it's going to look weird. And my lovely bride over here, she's excited about this. Yep. All right, let's get to it. We're going to measure off of the fence. All right. Theoretically that should be the first post mark.
So they get right here, it will give me some extra space too to do other stuff too. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Need you to hold here and then right in the center of that.
Try not to get the paint on it.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 30 foot out from, 14 feet out from the fence. But you remember this, you gotta come out, kind of think about, no, you gotta come straight.
Well, you said the post down there, but the post is over here.
It don't match up on post, but just kind of take the ideal of the post, how far out it comes, and just do your best guess.
Do my best, okay.
Put the other post down here for the string, and then we're gonna start on that end drilling holes, and then work our way this way one at a time.
Okay.
It is the hottest dry, or it's not really the hottest, but it's been the driest year we've had since like the 80s. Now we're gonna get the tractor, put the auger on, and go from there.
All right, let's go.
All right, so what we've got going on here is we've got our string pulled from one end to the other. This post is parallel to the string, which is about 1/8 of an inch off. We're going to try to make every post about 1/8 of an inch off. It's perfectly level this way and this way. Now we're ready to FAST2K it. So I know I'm going to get this question, why are you not putting anything around this post? Well, because we are using FAST2K, and we're going to fill it all the way up to the top of the post. And what that does is it encapsulates the post, and water can't get to it. So this post will outlive us.
Probably.
All right, so we got the first 2 bags in, and we got to let this rise for about 5 minutes, and then we can put the other bags in. I think it may end up taking 2 more bags. These are big holes. We want the 12-inch holes because we want the holding power. All right, got our second post up. Now this is tedious work because the posts have to be, for what we're doing, they have to be 48 inches center to center, and then they have to be perfectly aligned on the string, and there's about 1/8 of an inch between the post and the string. So that's what's going on here. All right, guys, this is the end of day 1. Now, we didn't get to work a whole day. We just want to come up here and at least get started and kind of get our tools out and figure out all the things that you're going to need, because you never know until you really start. But we've got a pretty good thing going here. I don't believe I've ever done posts any straighter than that. That's about as straight as you possibly get. The eye will play a little bit of tricks on you, but if you look down through there, that's pretty daggone close. Good enough for a greenhouse, I guarantee you that. Heck, that's good enough for a house. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, good morning to day 2 of our greenhouse build. We are getting ready to measure out some more posts. Tanya and I, who's behind the camera.
Hi, everyone.
We have got us a rhythm down. We've got we've got all the stuff in one place now. Yesterday we didn't get as far as we'd love to get, but we got all of our equipment. We know what we need now to go forward. So this should go a little bit faster, and I may regret saying that. Gizmo is already providing the proper amount of supervision. He's inspected every hole we've dug. Well, good morning. Got Tanya out here. This is day 3. So day 1 and 2, we've got all of these posts in for the greenhouse. And these dudes are like 120 pounds a piece at least. But we do have a problem. So off the auger bit wandered just a little bit right here. And so we're going to have to pull this post right back out with the tractor because it's too heavy to pick out by hand. And then dig a little bit over to this side. So not terrible, but still heavy work. So we got the post out of the hole. Yeah, gonna have to dig over that way just a little bit. Let me show you this contraption we come up with. We use the Precision Manufacturing grapple and just put like a sacrifice board here, and then we put a sacrifice board up here. So that way when we can just kind of clamp it together and pick this big post up. But there's no way me and Tanya are gonna pick this post up by ourselves. It's just not gonna happen. So that is how we done it. So this is what we're going for. We want the string to be about 1/4 inch away.
So right here where the marks are, right there, where y'all can see it without my shadow, that's where the door is going to be. My plan is to have a double door right here for the greenhouse. Well, I was thinking about getting just one door, but the thing is that Tony had a point. If I had to get something big in there, I couldn't do it with a tractor because with one door it's going to be more difficult. So having 2 doors, French doors, would be the perfect fit for it. So we're going to be putting these right there.
All right, so we're out here with the Gizmo dog, and today's the day we're going to start cutting the top of these posts off. We used the laser level. If you'll notice here, we took the laser level and put a common mark on every post out here. And John and Tanya here are measuring the shortest post, and this is the shortest post, which is 39 5/8.
Yes.
All right, so 39 5/8 from the line down is what we're going to cut each post. With the exception, I hope I'm not making you guys sick, is this is the opening for the door. So this post right here, these 2 in the middle, they will be cut down 29 5/8, where the other ones will be 39 5/8. And the reason being is we have a 10-inch beam that goes from one side to the other that will carry the load of the truss from this side over to this side. Feel good there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got it. If you try to cut with the chainsaw straight across, it's really hard to follow or to make it level. If we come in at an angle and cut the post from the sharp point, you can follow the blade, the bar as it goes down, and you can see. We got them all cut off on the top. You can see from up here that they're really level. You got the 2 in the center there. The door's going to be, there's going to be a big beam that goes across there. That's the reason those are down 10 inches further. Got a big oak beam we're going to set across there. I love it. So 141. Tanya's going to drive that beam across and get it in position before I get in the basket, and then she'll raise me and the beam up to set it up here. Nerves of steel. She used to wouldn't even touch a tractor. So that beam is probably 100 pounds, 120 pounds. All right, so we got the beam setting up here, and you guys probably can't see the level from here, but over here, this is right, but when I cut the chainsaw, it's kind of going up a little bit, so we'll get this screwed in and then take the chainsaw, snip that back off level. Pretty happy with it all. Okay, here we are. Tanya's giving us the grand tour. So I countersunk these holes here in that beam. Put a 6-inch screw down in there. Check out the level. I think you get no better than that. And then again, we countersunk this hole. And then there's the top of the beam meeting the top of the other. And there's two big bolts in there. There are 2 big lag or GRK screws, like 1600 PSI each. So those posts will carry the load, but it just makes everything stronger. Okay, there we go. We've got the big beam put across the future door, and then we've got the top plate all the way around. So that's it in for today. We'll see you tomorrow. So we got the crew here. Good morning. We're getting ready to go over and start building trusses today. And these are all going to be hand built by this fantabulous crew. Wind's blowing, it's going to be awesome. For the past week, we've been cutting up these 6x6 tulip poplar up on the sawmill, and this is going to be what we make the trusses out of. We're going to use Ichabod crane truck here. He's going to be what's lifting the trusses up. We've got our main helper here. Tanya's pulling the tractor and the man basket over here to the greenhouse, and we're going to start doing some measurements to make sure. It should be 16 foot across, but it may be 16 foot, and it's a pole barn or a pole system, so it may be 16 foot and a few inches. There's going to be variation, so each truss is going to have to be individually cut. Gitmo, you want to go? Tanya is the best. She's the only person I trust to operate the man basket with me in it. I just hope she likes John. All right, she's going to move me to the corner. This is where the first truss is going to sit right here. That's good. All right, he's going to try his best to reach the outside over there. We should be able to go right on the inside of this. You know what I'm saying? Just go right on the inside. It should be close. All the way to the outside of that beam. I'm going to hold this right here. The outside of that beam. 194 inches. Okay, so from this tip down to where we're going to start cutting the bird's mouth out, it's 9 foot 7/16 of an inch. That's 3.5 inches exactly, and that's what the measurement's supposed to be. I'm going to set the saw to 26.5 degrees, and then we'll make our first cut across. But I'm going to set it to the side like this, and that's the depth that we need to go. When I cut this across, theoretically, it should be right there perfectly to that depth. And we should be pretty close to that line. What you got there? Look pretty good? It's not gonna be perfect. So what I'm gonna do is take this one and do a countersunk hole here, on the top going this way, and then on the other one I'll do a countersunk hole coming in from this side going this way. So that's the center. That bolt will go right in there. So now is we're going to double check. I got 194 1/16. That should let it slide down over that.
I hope so.
Look on my side. All right, it's on it. Our life's in Tanya's hands again as we go up to put this big lag boat. Got it. She does it all. She runs the tractor, she runs the crane. Woman of many talents. That's one truss successfully installed. All fingers and toes are accounted for. That's good. John's gonna jump in the basket and put these big screws in. So each one of these screws is supposed to be around 1,600 pounds tensile strength. And then with everything else, I just don't see that these are ever gonna go anywhere. Plus there's really no true weight on this. It's gonna be a plastic roof. All right, here we go. Now watch this big old boat. It will pull, pretty impressive. It'll pull that around. It sucks that thing down. That looks good. Thank you, John. Give us a big wave. All right, I'm taking you along this journey. This is the last roof truss, I guess you'd call it, rafter. When we put the collars on it, is it called a truss or is it still rafters? Anyway, they look good. You look down that center line, it's level as can be. That is so awesome. So here goes the last screw on these big trusses that we hand built. These are cut out of our timbers on our sawmill. And if I can do this without breaking my wrist. All right, I got to come back and tighten it up without the camera, guys. Tanya has done excellent work. She is the master of the basket. Please set me down safely. Now we got to do is slide them off when I'm on the man basket. Slide them over. It'll be a lot easier than doing it multiple times. this girl here has got this tractor thing down. We're going to use this treated 2x6, or excuse me, it's 2x8 as a facer board. And then on top of, so we're going to run it right across the edge of this rafter. And then up here is where the first 2x4 is going to set across, and there'll be 2x4s every 30 inches all the way to the top. And that will be what we put the polycarbonate panels onto. So I think this is going to work. And we're just going to eyeball setting this right here on the center, and then we'll put the next piece all the way to the end. All right, so we're using these hot dipped galvanized nails for the nail gun. I have had really good results out of these. So pull the trigger. There you go. Take the next board and run that facial board down through there. We're going to put our gutters on this, and we will have a water collection system. Running down here like a monkey. Okay, we're back out here again today. It's a cold November day, probably about 35, 40 degrees right now. And we're going to start putting the roof on. So originally we were going to have an overhang on this roof, but we're going to go ahead and cut this off even and use some trim pieces, some metal trim pieces to cap this edge. All right, we got both ends done, and we went ahead and measured out from this face board here 2 inches. And then we made a mark, and we got a string pulled all the way to the other end. And we're going to take each piece of polycarbonate panel and bring it down to where it is basically 1/8 of an inch off of the string. Next thing is to cut these to length. This probably is going to cut pretty clean too. Now, this polycarbonate, you need to cut multiple panels at one time if you're going to use the skill saw. Otherwise, it said use a straight edge and like a razor knife. Look at that. That's not even a really sharp blade either. So this is the bottom.
So we're back at it again. It is cold out here. We're all bundled up, and let's get this greenhouse going.
Let me give you a mid update of where we're at. Our goal is to be able to replace a panel. We're going to put full 8-foot panels, but I have a feeling that at some point in time we're going to be mowing a rock or a stick or something's going to come over and hit one of these panels and damage it. So we're going to make the panels where each individual panel can be pulled off and replaced at will without having to take the whole thing down. I feel like if there's going to be any panels that have to be replaced, they're going to be the lower panels. We're going to have, at the top will probably be solid. Actually, the sun's to my benefit. Did I mess up with the reading it? Yeah. Muffler bearings. So this is that butyl tape we got from H.B. Fuller. Right. We
got these first 3 panels put up the other day, and we just got some time lapse of that, because this is basically, we're figuring out how to do this. Tanya's greenhouse is custom built, so that means there's no plans, there's no pre-approved way of doing things.
It's in Tony's head only.
It's in my head only, which is the scary place that no one else is allowed to go. Anyway, so we've got us a plan together, and I think today we can probably get most of this wrapped up, a good portion of it wrapped up today, because now we know how to do it. The simple thing is we're going to place the panels up. We put the butyl tape around. We're using butyl tape by HB Fuller. It's a really good butyl tape. And I'll tell you this, once you stick it on there, it's going to hold. That's one of the reasons we're putting the butyl tape on the outside and using these boards to kind of pinch the butyl tape. If this is ever damaged, I want to be able to unscrew these boards and remove them and take the whole panel out. So that's kind of the thinking that's my thinking. And so if we put that butyl tape to the actual post, I believe it would be very difficult to get loose. So this way we can just like take the broken panel out and replace it. All right, let's get to it. So this is the tough panels we're using, and it comes with a coating. There's a blue coating that goes towards the outside, and there's the clear coating is for the inside. There you go, I think. So this is the inside. That pulled. We had plenty of room. We didn't even take that loose. All right, now we got to go middle of yours somewhere. We'll go with it.
Got it. Go ahead.
Entertaining if nothing else, right? All right, let me pull it. I'm gonna pull it.
Do what you need.
All right, I'm up there. Go ahead and. All right, that'll work. A little bit, but it'll be all right. Nothing that a good drain storm won't fix. I bet there's got to be 10,000 screws in this before we're done. All right, so we got John in here. He's finishing up the lower side. This is what we're doing on the inside. We're using that butyl tape, putting the screws through it. On this side, I got washers. So here is the outside. It looks pretty awesome. I am so excited about this. All right, we're bringing you up to the top here. We'll start working on this end of the greenhouse. What we're doing here is we're going to have a continuation from the post down here up to here. Now I've already drawn this line because we were playing with this earlier. All I'm doing is I'm taking the level and putting it right at the edge of this post. So I know that that's my starting point. And then I'm using the level bubble, moving it over. And then you can see here I've already got the line drawn. So now I'll make a mark up here as to how far we want this post to go to right here so we can toenail this in. I'm going to say 21 1/8 at the high point. All right, let's go cut one. So these are some scraps we had left over. Perfect for this kind of stuff. I'm going to square this end off. That was 21 1/8 strong, so I'm going to go. So what I did is I put this on the pivot, just like we did the rafters pivot point, and I moved it around to where the common says 6, because we're using a 1 and 6 pitch. Go all the way across for the measurements. All right, so this is our board we cut. Let's see how this looks. Here's the top of the post here, and here is the post right here. My goodness, that's almost like we made it for it. It's not 100% perfect. I love nail guns. No, like I said, it's just gonna be holding that little panel up. There's no structure to it at all, but it's gonna give a nice look of symmetrical look. That's a big word for me. So 28, go at 28 inches and then cut from the outside blue. So this is the 4 3/4 side. And then we want the 28 side over here. I'm going with the dark one.
And that's the bugle tape also.
Yeah, this is the butyl tape. What's the stick hood on it?
Not bugle. I'm thinking about
Butyl.
those chips.
Butyl, not bugles. This will keep it from leaking for sure. So right here with this, well, we instead of trying to do it while we're hanging off a basket. Sweet. I'll buy it. I can put it all the way down here and just let it set here. All right, so if you'll just back us up to the next one. Well, this looks awesome. We've got a couple mistakes. We got off center on a couple of boards right up here, but Tanya's gonna put a little decorative thing, so it's gonna be okay. But gosh, that turns out really good. Now we just gotta put the roof trim on, and it's really looks good. I'm impressed. Not bad being supervised by the gizmo dog. We've got the front done, the back right, and the back, and then this end we've left open so we can bring dirt in. Let me show you. Let me give you a little walkthrough. So this is our door. It's going to be a patio door, or like a French door, double French door, so that we still could set a pallet in with a tractor. Now if you look here, you'll see there's still an opening around the bottom, and we went ahead and made us basically a sacrifice board exactly the right length, and there's a mark on each post. So all we have to do is put that board to the post, and we know exactly how far down to put the board around the bottom. And then we're going to bring dirt in, and that's why we left the end open, so we can bring dirt in with a tractor versus trying to do it all by hand. All right, we are seeing some sunshine here. We've got the boards, the baseboards all the way around on the inside, and we have to bring the dirt up to the very bottom of those boards, so that gives you an idea of how far off we are here in this corner. It's probably, we gotta bring in like, I don't know, 8 or 10 inches of soil in here. We knew it wasn't perfectly level. Okay, I believe we are ready to start the last phase of this project, which is to basically finish this last wall. We left this last wall open so that we could bring in dirt and do some basic leveling before we started. This dirt is really wet and muddy, and that's the reason we went ahead and brought it in and kind of spread it out as best we could. We're going to let it dry in here and then bring a little tiller in and bust it all up, and then use a rake to kind of put it out. At some point, we're going to bring in a load of really fine crushed gravel, and we'll put in here. But for today, and I'll say this last phase, we'll go ahead and button up this wall and then put our trim and our center ridge cap down, because we can't put the ridge cap down until we get the end pieces on. We can't put the end pieces on until we get the end put on. So it's kind of a puzzle. You have to figure out how to do this. So Tanya got the big beam set up on top of the man basket, and we're going to set it up, use the man basket to set it up, get high enough up there. All right, so we got this big oak beam across, and it's got a positive crown to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 of these big screws in, run a ratchet strap over it, and pull it down, and then go up and screw it. Hopefully, that's what's going to happen. All right.
Yep.
Hey, that's not a bad day's work. I'm pretty happy with that. Got 3 posts in the ground and the big beam set on the top. That big beam was a pain. Now we still do have to put a few pieces of wood up at the top for trim, and it's actually going to be like an anchor for the polycarbonate panels. But I think it's going to look good. I think it's going to look really good. So let me turn this on. So it's 10 foot 2 inches, so if we just go
Did a fine job of it.
I think so, it turned out. Got the ends on. I still got to put the ridge cover down the center, but the ends are buttoned up. And then we're going to put black gutters down the side, which we're going to go for our water system.
This is Tanya putting in the first screws. Straight down, straight down. Okay, check it out. Only 80 more screws to go. Tanya's doing great. I may have been over the weight tolerance of those panels. That's the reason she's doing it. So Gizmo Dog there, he's watching Tanya up on top of the roof. He's not a big fan of her being up there. He's used to her being on the ground. So Tanya's putting in the last screws. So this is the inside of the greenhouse to this point. We've got almost all of the dirt around the outside, and then we have the doors left to do. What we did here is we made this a threshold. So at the entrance of each side here, in these corners, we sprayed a really heavy coat of basically a rubber spray to keep the concrete away from the post. And again on this side, and then we just built a form and made our door opening. Now the outside is a little bit lower than the inside so that the water will drain out. And then we're going to build a set of doors.
I look out across the water. I smell the sun.
So Tanya is going to be the first person to walk through the doors of her greenhouse. How about that? They're not perfect. They're not perfect, but they're going to be cool.
Almost done.
Almost done. So we got a lot of work to do, but it's so awesome. Most of this door up, we still obviously got to put the panels in. You got to drill the holes for the locks at the top and the bottom. And then we got to put the side pieces running down. Getting close. So she's putting this butyl tape across the top. We're going to implant the I guess. Put in the polycarbonate panel for the door. And yeah, should be pretty good.
What you think?
What do I think? I think this is very, very nice.
It is.
Tony and Tanya have put together something that I'm envious of. I wouldn't mind having this myself,
What's the
but
next job?
my thumbs are black, so it'd be a waste of time and money for me to build.
Well, I told him we could not do it without him because two people building on what we did, we just couldn't do it. So he's been a big blessing.
It was my pleasure to help.
Oh, it is.
This is awesome.
Hey.
Woo-hoo-hoo, got doors.
You're a mess. Gizmo's like, I want a high five.
Come here, Bubby. Say, come on, give me a high five. Yeah, we did it. We got greenhouse. Yeah.
Where these rivers flow, or why the wind chooses when and where to blow. The sun is gonna rise each and every time
So this greenhouse is phase 1 of a multiple phase project. Phase 1 was just getting the greenhouse enclosed. Phase 2, we're going to build our own solar power plant. I've put a lot of energy and effort into understanding and learning solar, and we're going to see if we're going to take you guys on our journey as we figure out solar. Our ultimate goal is for our home to be completely off grid, and this is going to be a stepping stone for that. We got a 5-year plan, and the solar plant is coming next. So that's phase 2 is the solar plant. Phase 3 is when we'll move back into this greenhouse after we have the power run from the power plant to here, and then we're going to finish this all out. Now, my understanding, and don't hold me to it, we're going to have some raised beds in here, and there is going to be a big, long island in the middle. We're going to have Tanya's going to make this nice chandelier that goes through the top here, and it's going to have, you know, LED lights in it. Everything's going to be highly efficient. That is phase 3. And then phase 4 will be our water collection system. We're going to collect all of the water off of the roof of this building and go into an underground, either 500 or 1,000 gallon tank with a water pump, and that will be the water that we use inside the greenhouse. So this is our first step at completely off grid. So this is the point of the video where I'm going to ask for help. I'm starting to do this more and more. It's very unlike me. I like to bullhead through everything, but I know absolutely nothing about greenhouses. One of my friends go, "What are you going to put in the greenhouse?" And it's Tanya's greenhouse, and I said, "I have no say."
That's right, that's me.
Have no say. However, we still have a lot of, we built the greenhouse shell. There's still a lot to do. We are looking at some underground vents, pulling air from underground and coming out in here. And then we're gonna have to have some up at the top here on this end. We're gonna have to have some sort of vent system. Right now, this thing is completely enclosed, windproof. It's pretty tight right now. It's absolutely pretty tight. You can see if you look up at the roof right now, the cool air on the outside and the hot air going up, the condensation. It's a greenhouse, it's supposed to do that, expect it to do that. So any kind of ideas you guys have, any greenhouse experts out there, reach out to us on Tony'sTractorAdventure.com. We have a contact page there. Give us some information. If you've got some ideas or some products you would recommend, we would truly appreciate any advice from an expert that we could get, because this guy is no greenhouse expert.
I thought this day would never come. I can't believe we're standing in the greenhouse. It is such an awesome feeling knowing that those logs of the posts actually came from our property, and with the live edges and all the little nooks and crannies. This is a greenhouse, you call it a labor of love. So thank you, Tony and Mr. John and Gizmo for supervising that, helping us to build this greenhouse. I just love it. I'm just so overwhelmed with it, because I would never thought I'd have a greenhouse like this.
It's about 50 degrees outside. I would say it's about 85 in here.
It is very comfortable in here.
It's very humid in here. It's like a sauna.
Yay!
Hey, we hope you enjoy this type of video. If you like these build type videos, we're gonna have a playlist that you can click on, and also the video in this link right here.